Welcome back to the Red Letter Challenge, and we are on day number 40. Following Jesus is the greatest opportunity we will ever have. The disciples understood this. It's why they immediately followed Jesus. I don't think we understand how special it is to be a disciple of Jesus. The way I thought of a disciple changed when I studied Ray Vanderland's work entitled Dust of the Rabbi. Much of this devotion comes from his teachings. To understand what a disciple is, one must go back to the time when Jesus was born. Jesus was born in Israel, and the people who were most highly regarded and respected in Israel were those who taught the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. A teacher of the Torah was known as a rabbi, and this was a highly respected position. In the New Testament, Jesus was referred to a rabbi 14 times and as a teacher 40 times. Vanderland says that for a young boy growing up in Israel, to be a rabbi was the greatest thing that could happen to you. The second greatest thing would be to become a follower of a rabbi, especially Rabbi Jesus. There was something special about Rabbi Jesus. Not only did he teach the Torah with full understanding, he also spoke with authority over the wind and the waves. He began to heal many people and do other miracles. Imagine how exciting it must have been to become one of his disciples. However, it usually took a great deal of work to become a disciple of a rabbi. One rabbi from Jesus' day wrote this: "Under the age of 6, we do not receive a child, but from 6 upwards we accept him and stuff him with Torah like an ox." At age 6, a little boy could go to Bet Sefer, the house of the book. From age 6 to age 10, a little boy would literally sit at the feet of a teacher to memorize Torah. By the time he was 10 years old, the young Jewish boy would have all of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy memorized. At this point, many boys would return home to learn a trade. Some students, however, had a special gift, and they'd be accepted to move on to the next level, Bet Talmud, the house of learning. They would keep memorizing day after day and year after year. By the age of 14, it wasn't uncommon for these students to have the entire Hebrew scripture memorized, Genesis through Malachi, more than 100 pages in my Bible. And their rabbi would ask them questions of understanding. For these disciples, it wasn't just knowing what was in the text, they had to be able to interpret it as well. It had to be a part of their life. At the age of 14 or 15, the best of the best from the Bet Talmud would find a rabbi they admired and ask to be one of his students. The rabbi would then give them a test. If they passed it, he would accept them and they would begin the Bet Midrash, the house of the study. At this point, the students would spend every waking minute with their rabbi to learn from him. This is what it took to become a disciple back then. Only the best of the best made it. But the disciples Jesus chose weren't the best of the best. He didn't wait for people to ask to follow him. Instead, he went to a tax collector named Matthew. He went to guys who didn't make it through rabbi school, unschooled and ordinary men like Peter, Andrew, James, and John. These people didn't deserve to follow after the greatest rabbi ever. These guys were used to failing. Can you imagine how excited they were to get the call from Jesus? This was the greatest opportunity of their lives. A rabbi of that day would bless a student with these words: "May you be covered by the dust of your rabbi." In other words, may you follow your rabbi so closely that when he kicks up his feet, the dust covers you. Do you want to go and make disciples? Live in the dust of Jesus. It will happen. And that was day 40.